So I really don't know what to say about that. When it comes to the use of legends, do you think, I mean, we've seen different things. Like when Slamboree first started, they would do something cool where they would introduce everyone. Everyone would come out on the stage one by one and they would introduce all the legends. And then you get a few legends matches and a few interviews of legends interspersed throughout the show. I remember they did an all-star game, I think it was 99, where before the game they had the greatest living baseball players alive on the field introduced, and it was an incredible spectacle. Do you think if you bring a Hulk Hogan back, if you bring a DX back, if you bring anyone, Ric Flair, they have to be incorporated in what's happening on the show? Or do you think people would support and watch a wrestling legends show 1 week, not a pay-per-view, but 1 week in the spot of a Raw or something, where you have 50 legends, but they're introduced, they're given time, they're given videos to show their career? Do you think there's a way other than the way they're using legends to use legends? And do you think there's a respectable way where instead of Hulk Hogan coming out there like that, Hulk Hogan wears a suit and he's introduced and people clap and he waves? Other than like the Hall of Fame, is there a way to maybe make it so it's not this? I mean, because it's always this. You know, someone said the other day, the FTR thing where they got beaten down by DX, that was Raw 25. That means the Legends thing we saw in between where the Big Show and Mark Henry got sent off, that was just a random Legends show, but it's always the same legends doing the same things and the same kind of skits, and I don't think it works.
All of the above. You know, here Hogan's such a big personality that, and also, to be honest, he can only do him, right? He can't, when he's Hogan he's the disingenuous, you know, and that's right, brother, type of thing. He never evolved in his promo to the next generation where he got out of the say your prayers and take your vitamins and blah, 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 and can actually have a goddamn toe-to-toe argument back and forth with somebody like a fucking Owens that's quick and could shred him if he was allowed to, right? So Hogan's a big personality and you got to kind of do the Hogan stuff. But with some legends should be there. Why can't you, with Hogan, if you don't want to interact him with any of the current guys, they do such great packages. Do a package on the 30, because they own all the footage now. WCW, 30 years of Hulk Hogan's transformation from the first Raw show he was on, because he was only there for a couple months, the third blah, 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 or whatever. And again, show it on the screen and the viewers can see it, and then let him come out and do the full-blown thing in the ring, or maybe his hip was bad, he couldn't get in the ring. That seemed to be possibly a recurring theme. And, you know, and let him be himself. That's not necessarily that bad, but with some of the other legends, instead of Mike Rotunda being IRS and coming in and confiscating the poker game money for haha, and everybody knows that's bullshit anyway, and IRS was his WWF gimmick, but why not do an IRS package for 60 seconds and then show him sitting at ringside as Mike Rotunda there, because now he's the goddamn, what is he to Bray Wyatt? I've forgotten their family.
He's the father of Bray Wyatt.
He's Bray Wyatt's father. So people know that because they're playing now to the internet crowd, and let LA Knight come down there and jerk Bray Wyatt's father over the fucking rail and smack him around or something, instead of what we got, which we'll talk about later. Or with there was Medusa there playing poker. You know, why couldn't she interact with one of the modern heel women, even if it's verbally, to try to enhance something that they're doing, instead of she's a former women's champion and groundbreaking trailblazer, and her part was to play poker in the back in pre-tapes.
See, that's the thing. Instead of using a Medusa or a Lunger Blaze in this case as a background player, If they had put together a 2-minute video explaining everything you just said, showing clips from WCW, from WWE, they probably wouldn't license anything from Japan for this, and then introducing her to the crowd without it being a joke, don't you think people would stand up and applaud?
Well, yeah, and then she could also say to one of these whiny modern girls, the heels, to put her in her place, oh, you think you've got it so hard and blah, blah, blah. They have a performance center and you're being flown everywhere and you're on national television and there's all kinds of women and you have all kinds of opportunities. You know, back in my day, when I was the women's champion in the AWA, the women's roster was 2 of us. And we had to ride in a fucking van with goddamn Mad Dog Vachon pissing in a jar or whatever, right? And just something like that. As we'll go through, maybe we'll come up with some ideas as we go through and mention some of these names. But nevertheless,